Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to episode number 104 of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joseph Sangle. I am fired up to be joined by my co-host, Megan Hibbard. Are you fired up on this fine Monday?
Fired up. Happy Monday,
It's
everybody.
the end of June.
Can't believe it.
Good riddance. No, it's awesome. June has been better than May, better than April.
Yep.
Woo.
Moving in the right direction.
Good grief. I've been saying some stuff kind of about that, about how people have had a 1-2 punch. And you can't have a 2-punch without a 1 punch.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole world took a 1 punch. So now anything that happens, we're already dazed and confused by the first one. So it just knocks people out. That's how people get knocked out in boxing.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's where people been, but all of a sudden everybody's getting up off the mat. The whole world, not just America, the world. And so it's really exciting to see. And so today we're going to be talking about what?
Today we're talking about security features of money. So our question is, I've been thinking about selling some stuff on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but I'm worried about being given counterfeit money. A few of my friends do this stuff all the time, and one of them was given a counterfeit $100 bill. How do you know if my cash is legitimate or counterfeit?
Wow. Okay. So we're going to work on that. And I've done a lot of research for this episode. So I can't wait. I learned some stuff, and I hope that it will help our audience as well. Definitely, I think it's bad because that's just straight up theft and annoying that somebody printed their own money somehow and then pawned it off on somebody. And the person who gave it to them may not even know they did it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to try to help you protect yourself today. And I think you're going to learn some stuff about the currency that you carry around in your pocket every day.
Yep.
Tell everybody about our featured resource for this month.
Right.
It's the last chance.
It is. Our featured resource for this month is our ebook bundle. So when people fill out their senior yearbook, no one ever wrote down, I see myself struggling financially. However, statistics show that 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and now that percentage is higher than ever with unemployment rates. And it's our passion to help you understand what God's word says about biblical stewardship and provide practical steps to change your life. So this month, we're offering our ebook bundle for only $15, and that's over 52% savings. So this bundle comes with all 11 of our ebooks, and they're instantly delivered to your inbox. So just go to iwbnin.com/bundle to grab these 11 ebooks today.
That's awesome. And it needs to be today or the next day because it expires in June. And so on this fine Monday, we're getting ready for that favorite part of the podcast, that section that we all love. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by the Next Step section of the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not page. When you're looking to take your next step with your money, start here. All of our favorite banks, investing companies, and money-saving ideas are located right there. Just go to iwasbrokenowimnot.com and click on Next Steps.
Yes. And so this is the current money events section, and we're going to talk today about lending restrictions. And as we've been focusing for the last several months about the coronavirus, we featured some episodes fully on it, and now we're using this current events section to talk about it. And so today I wanted to talk about lending restrictions. Many people who are purchasing or refinancing their homes are having their income verified multiple times. Have you refinanced your house during this?
We talked about it, and we actually, the guy we used was just like, no, you shouldn't do it. Like, things are so up and so down. Like, it just felt like he just didn't want to do it.
It's probably because they're so busy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we were like, we need to find somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we've had people in the office that refinance their homes, and it's interesting that, and we also have members of our team that are married to real estate agents and everything, and it is crazy that usually they verify people's income one time. They call the employers, hey, do they work there, that sort of thing. Now they're calling 1 week before closing. They're calling the day before closing again.
I mean, it could
saying,
change.
has anything changed?
Yeah.
Because things have been so dynamic, and eventually that goes away.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how in the short term they just restricted it because they're just really trying to protect. The bank is trying to protect themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. They will give you the mortgage for 30 years for many people. We prefer a 15-year note, but if 30 years for many people, And they're assuming that because you have income today, you're going to have income for 30 years. They don't come take it away if you lose your job in the middle or if you fire yourself or quit.
Yeah, it's a big assumption.
Weird.
Yeah, it
Big
is weird.
assumption. But also 0% balance transfer credit card offers, which we've mentioned many times on the podcast as a way to get traction, to get your interest to zero. They literally have just shut the door.
Yeah.
They have the offers. You can apply. They're not approving them. We have not had a single person approved that's told us about it in the last 3 months.
Crazy.
It's just shut down.
Yeah.
After the first week of March, it's kind of shut down. And hopefully that will ease as, Discover and JP Morgan Chase and Citi and these big providers, Synchrony Financial, as they ease up, it will reopen because that is a great way for people to get traction. And so we compared, I took a look and found some research from consumerfinance.gov, which is an advocacy organization by the federal government working on our behalf to make sure that there's fair lending practices. And they did this research, and I provide a link in the show notes. And I want to read this part because I found it very interesting. We compared hard inquiry volume in the last week of March. This is for credit inquiries. Hard credit inquiries, where the human being asked to borrow money, to buy something. And it says, we compared hard inquiry volume in the last week of March with that in the first week and adjust for within-month trends based on data from the March in earlier years of 2013 to 2019. Listen to what they found. This is crazy, Megan. We find that auto loan inquiries dropped by 52% between the first and last week of March. Half. New mortgage inquiries dropped by 27%, a quarter. And revolving credit card inquiries dropped by 40%. Additionally, the drops are significantly more pronounced for consumers with higher credit scores. So people with higher credit scores, people better managers of debt in general, have just ran away from borrowing money. They chose to shore up the margin account savings. And they'd also found that for auto loan inquiries, consumers with deep subprime scores, which is a Vantage score less than 500, they experienced a 49% drop in inquiries, while consumers with super prime, which is greater than 780, they experienced a 67% drop. So it's interesting. It may mean that, perhaps they had a newer car. I don't know all the details. They don't say all the details. But the relative differences are even larger for revolving credit card inquiries. It was a 34% drop for subprime versus 59% drop for super prime. And new mortgage inquiries was a 20% drop for subprime, 36% drop for super prime. And so the single angle of the current money events is that 70% of our economy, they say, is driven by consumer spending. And without demand for credit or supply for credit requests, the entire establishment starts clanking. Clank, clank, clank. Has anybody heard any clanking in the economy lately? And perhaps we haven't heard the clanking because of the Families First and CARES Act that was promoted and ultimately passed into law, put $3 trillion in Americans' pockets. And perhaps, just perhaps, maybe it is because consumers are in better financial shape this time around versus 2008 and 2009. And let's hope that is the real reason.
Yeah.
And so with that, that's the single angle and the current money events section. Get fired up.
Okay. All right. So for our success story today, Pastor Marty Schmidt, who's one of our good friends here at I Was Broke Now I'm Not in the Monday Money Tip podcast.
Absolutely.
Shared with us that he and his wife had faithfully been working the financial ladder, so the I Was Broke Now I'm Not ladder, and been blown away by the progress they've been able to make over the last decade. They are currently on rung number 6, and they are now funding dreams annually that he never thought possible. Last year, they took their first family vacation that fully funded and paid for in advance. And now they're already setting up plans for another.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is a friend of mine, a great friend out there in the Iowa way. And one of the things that I think is so amazing is the ladder just makes sense. It just makes sense. And the ladder is available at iwmin.com/ladder. You can download it for free. And it puts order to financial decisions. And some of them are achievements. Like you can check it off and say, I've done that. It's done. It's completed. There's no ongoing work necessary for it. Others are ongoing. You have to keep doing them.
Yeah.
And even as you climb up the ladder, that rung keeps humming. Like, contributing to your retirement account enough to get the full company match, rung number 3, and making sure that you're continuing to do that. So the next one is rung 4, paying off your debt like it's gone. Once that's done, that's achievement. Rung 5, save 3 months minimum in an emergency fund. That's an achievement. Rung 6, as he says he's on, that's 15% of your gross income forevermore until you retire. And so I celebrate it. And I've been a personal eyewitness to this change happening in their life. It has been phenomenal. I've seen our families grow with new little ones show up. I've seen them growing up. I've seen his church exploding. And I see a correlation between him becoming a much better steward of the money that's in his hands and how their church has been able to grow. And as a result of this change that's happened in his life, he's wanted it for all the people of their community, which has been hard hit over the last several decades. And really, he's restored light and life and energy back to a community that has been really despondent. So I celebrate it. Pastor Marty and Jenny Schmidt, we're celebrating your success.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. So our question for today is, I've been thinking about selling some stuff on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but I'm worried about being given counterfeit money. A few of my friends do this stuff all the time, and one of them was given a counterfeit $100 bill. How do you know if my cash is legitimate or counterfeit?
Well, I think this is a great question.
Yes.
One of the things I would encourage you to do if you're listening to the podcast and you're not driving is to reach down and pull out some currency out of your pocket. Now, I'm going to talk about American currency. Every government that prints money has unique currency features, security features to make sure it's legit. And some of it is microscopic, some of it is magnetic, some of it is ultraviolet. It's very interesting. Now, of U.S. currency, something that is very interesting is that it is cloth. Did you know that?
Huh, no.
This is not paper. It's cloth. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
In fact, I want you to kind of take a look at that one. Or you can choose a new one.
I don't know. We did that episode on dirty money, and now I get worried about
There
it.
you go. This is a brand new one. They
Okay,
gave it to me today. Okay, it's a new 5, and if you're on YouTube, you can see us doing this. But it's 1/4 linen fibers and 3/4 cotton fibers. This is why when you accidentally wash currency, it doesn't like dissolve like the love note that Jordan gave you and gives you every day. I know he does.
He's so sweet.
Right? So, and the ink doesn't run.
Yeah.
It's because it is cloth. It is printed on here, permanent ink on cloth. And if you look closely, you'll see red and blue fibers woven in for a patriotic effect. Do you see any red or blue fibers? Do you see them?
Interesting.
Do you see them? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
And I've got old eyes now, they tell me. I need progressive lenses, although I don't have them. I'm denying it. But for real, I encourage you to pull out and look at it. And also, they have raised printing on them. So as you run your fingers over, like I've got a 20 here, there's like a gold one that kind of changes different colors, and it's raised. And so that's also something unique about money.
That is very unique.
Now, what I wanted to do is to kind of help inform you that there are 7 types of bills in print in the United States that they're actively printing. 7. Not 700, not 20, 7 different types, 7 denominations. So let's talk about George Washington, number 1 dollar bill.
Number 1.
It was introduced in what year?
1963.
And it features the first president of the United States,
George Washington.
George Washington. And if you fold him very, very uniquely with his hair here, this is interesting. I'm going to show this. This is the benefit of watching this on YouTube, is it will form a mushroom. Do you see that?
Is that supposed to happen?
That's something you can just do. I just noticed it looks like a mushroom. And it's been unchanged since 1963. So they're not too worried about this one. You know, somebody would have to print a lot of money, and they don't really do it for a dollar. Dollar doesn't buy as much. Some security features that are common to all U.S. issued currency is it has the Federal Reserve Seal, and it also has the U.S. Treasury Seal. Okay? So the Federal Reserve, they have different banks on them. So G is Chicago, Illinois. Isn't that neat?
Huh.
And if you look at the $1 bill, it will actually tell you which one it's tied to. So I have a K. K is Dallas, Texas. And I have here a C. That is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I have an F. That is Atlanta, Georgia. Did you know there's different Federal Reserve banks? So they have the Federal Reserve note and they have a U.S. Treasury seal. Now, a lot of people can mimic a seal or a stamp or whatever, but they also come with serial numbers. They have 11 digits and letters. And those serial numbers are unique to every single bill you look at, every single one. And when counterfeiters start counterfeiting, they start a lot of times by making a photocopy of one. And this is one way that they catch on the counterfeiting, the government activity and tracing the counterfeiters. They realize it's the same number showing up everywhere. And so that's a big deal. It's one of the telltales, and that helps them start getting a trace on where that started, because they kind of know where that bill started.
Yeah.
They not kind of know. They know.
They know everything.
And so the dollar bill has a lot of dollar bills in circulation, y'all. In fact, how many notes are currently in circulation?
So currently there's 12.1 billion with a B notes, which would equal $12.1 billion.
As they say, anything taken times one is its number. And the estimated lifespan. So how long does a dollar bill last?
5.8 years.
Yep, so almost 6 years. So what happens to a dollar bill when it's kind of past its usable life? Well, this money goes in and out of the Federal Reserve, and they test these notes to make sure they're still in good working condition. When they get back there, if they're not, they shred them. And that's how they keep control of the supply of money, the amount of paper money in supply. Okay, now the next denomination is the $2 bill. Now we live 20 minutes away from Clemson University. National champions 2 out of the last 4 years in football, 3-time national football champions. They've got a great baseball team. It's a great, beautiful organization. I graduated from there. We have a lot of graduates from there. You're from the ACC, NC State,
NC
the
State.
Wolfpack. Oh,
Go Pack.
Is that right?
Yep.
Got to do wolf.
Yeah, you got to do this.
Oh, I got to do
Do
this.
the
Okay.
hands.
Got to do the wolf call. But here's something unique happened about 50 years ago, 60 years ago, is they were invited to play against Georgia Tech, I believe it was. And they were coming down to Atlanta. And there was a lot of people at Georgia Tech, because they used to be a dominant team that didn't want to play Clemson, which was an agricultural school back then.
Right.
And so the Clemson fans were asked to go get $2 bills and to spend exclusively $2 bills everywhere they went to show the economic impact, because it's such a different note. Most people don't carry $2 bills.
Yeah.
And it just blew the city of Atlanta away. And so now, as a tradition, people get $2 bills and they stamp tiger paws on them, orange ones, and everywhere they go, they spend them. And so
I did not know
I've
that.
got a bunch of $2 bills that I'd gotten from years ago, from gifts and stuff, and I kept them, and some of them have orange tiger paws on them. And that's from 20, 30 years ago. So it's
That's
kind of a
cool.
tradition. So it's
Yeah.
something I want to share. But it features which president? No, don't tell them yet.
No.
I want the listener to guess who's on the $2 bill. Anybody know? He's mentioned in the play Hamilton. He's one of the protagonists, I guess. Well, who was it? Tell
It
them.
is President Thomas Jefferson.
Yep, Thomas Jefferson. I can change that. Why? Because I'm the president. That's what he says in Hamilton. And it has the serial numbers, the seals of Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury. And it has in circulation how many notes?
Okay, it's 1.2 billion notes, and that equals $2.4 billion.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Just times it by
So
two.
there's a lot of $2 bills out there. But here's what I know. There's less counterfeiting measures in the $1 and $2 bills because they're
Yeah.
less denominationals.
Can't really do a whole lot with
That's
it.
right. Now, let's go to the $5 bill. It features Honest Abe himself.
Oh, Abe.
So Honest Abe is there, and here's some stuff from the website from the government. They say the $5 note features subtle background colors of light purple and gray and includes an embedded security thread, watch this, that glows blue when illuminated by UV light. Did you know that?
That's wild, no?
I didn't know that.
No.
And so you can buy these pens, apparently, at stores,
Yes.
office
you can.
supply
Yep.
stores, that I thought they just had the marker on them.
I did too.
But they come on the other end with the light now. And so
Advanced.
that will glow blue. So when I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to Staples or something buying
You should, yeah.
one. And they also have 2 watermarks that are featured on the $5 note. So if you look at the $5 note and hold it up to light, you'll see these watermarks. You'll see the vertical pattern of 3 numeral 5s to the left of Honest Abe going vertically. And then you'll see a large numeral 5 located in the blank space to the right of the portrait. Do you
I
see it?
see it.
Oh, so it's not counterfeit. It has raised printing. It also has micro printing. Now, this will blow your mind.
Okay, I'm ready.
You got to have a microscope to see this. And you could use a large magnifying glass, okay? If you look carefully, you will see in small printed text, $5 repeated inside the left and right borders of the note, right here, inside here. And it will say, E pluribus unum, at the top of the shield within the Great Seal, which is amazing. And on the back of the note, the text, USA 5. Is that crazy or what?
Where does it say USA 5?
The back of the note. Somewhere. Okay? It says, appears along one edge of the large purple numeral 5. So when you look at
Oh,
the
yeah, I see it's on the very bottom of where it goes up. It's
There it
really
is.
small.
Isn't that amazing?
That is wild.
And so we're looking at this as we're talking to you, and we can't hardly see it, but let me tell you, when they're scanning these dollars, when they're running them through their machines to make sure they're in quality condition, they're checking for all that.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And in circulation, there are 2.96 billion notes.
Yep. So that's $14.8 billion.
Yeah. And the estimated lifespan is?
5.5 years.
Yeah, so kind of like a dollar bill. Now let's go to the $10 bill. It features a non-president who is the feature of the big play Hamilton.
Yep. So
Secretary
Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton. Not throwing away my shot. Okay. So the $10 note features subtle background colors of orange, yellow, and red, and includes an embedded security thread that glows orange when illuminated by UV light. When held to light, a portrait watermark of Hamilton himself is visible from both sides of the note. The note includes a color-shifting numeral 10 in the lower right corner of the note. It has raised printing, and it also has micro printing. If you look carefully, so now Megan has to see if she has a $10
I'm gonna see
bill.
if I have.
We don't have one. We have a
slim.
1, a 5, a 20 here. You will see small printed text that says the United States of America and $10 USA below the portrait and inside the borders of the note, and USA 10 repeated beneath the torch. So I encourage you to have the bills sitting in front of you, and this is something fun with your kids too. You know, for those of you that are kind of teaching your kids during this thing and you want to have a fun thing to do, you could pull out the big magnifying glass and kind of show them all these sneaky things. Then they kind of know things their friends don't know.
Yeah.
And in circulation, we have 1.96 billion notes, which totals
$19.6 billion.
Yeah.
And
they get wore out.
Yeah, they last about 4.5 years.
Yeah. Now let's go to the most popular note, the $20 bill. It features President
Andrew Jackson.
There he is. And the $20 note features subtle background colors of green and peach. The $20 note includes an embedded security thread that glows green when illuminated by UV light. When held to light, a portrait watermark of President Jackson is visible. Do you see him? From both sides of the note. And the note includes a color-shifting numeral 20 in the lower right corner of the note. Do you see him in there? And if you look carefully, there's micro printing on this one as well. And you'll probably have to use a large magnifying glass or a microscope to see the small printed text USA 20 along the border of the first 3 letters of the blue 20 USA ribbon. See the blue 20 USA ribbon?
The blue 20. What's in it?
To the right of the portrait, USA 20.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yep. And then the United States of America and 20 USA 20 in black in the border below the treasurer's signature. Okay? So anytime you're the treasurer, right now, Secretary of the Treasury is Steve Mnuchin. His name is on the bill. We've had other people, Janet Yellen. We've had Alan Greenspan, Ben Bernanke, and Timothy Geithner. That's the last 5. Look at that. I know those.
That is crazy.
And in circulation, there are 9.19 billion notes, totaling $183.8 billion. And the estimated lifespan of a 20 is longer. I don't know if they make it more durable cloth or what, but it lasts how long?
7.9 years, so almost 8 years.
Yeah. So 60% longer than other bills. I hope this is interesting to the listeners.
It is interesting, yeah.
And the $50 bill features President
Ulysses S. Grant.
That's right. Ulysses. What a name.
It is a name.
And the $50 note features subtle background colors of blue and red.
Ooh, we need that background
Sounds
music when you're
like
reading this.
somebody defining wine or something. And includes an embedded security thread that glows yellow when illuminated by UV light. When held to light, a portrait watermark of President Grant is visible from both sides of the note. The note includes a color-shifting numeral 50 in the lower right corner of the note.
How come you don't have one of those?
50. Well, we're getting ready to tell them why. Because in circulation, it's one of the lowest circulation notes. There's only 1.728 billion of them.
Yeah, which is $86.4
It is $86 billion because they add up really fast.
They do.
And the estimated lifespan is the longest of all of them we've mentioned so far at
8.5 years.
8.5 years. And so if you have a $50 bill, chances are it's been around on average 8.5 years. Okay, the $100 bill.
Now we're getting
Now
somewhere.
we like Ben Franklin. We all know Ben Franklin. He's not a president. He's just famous.
He's just awesome.
Ben Franklin wrote some cool stuff and really quite a statesman, did a lot of work as an ambassador and working on behalf of the United States. And the $100 note features additional security features, including a 3D security ribbon, a 3D one.
That's wild.
And color shifting bell in the inkwell. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Has raised printing, and the micro printing is on there as well. If you look carefully with a magnifying glass or microscope, the United States of America is on Ben Franklin's jacket collar. And USA 100 is around the blank space containing the portrait watermark. And 100 USA is along the golden quill, and small hundreds is in the note borders. In circulation are how many?
There are 12.5 billion notes in circulation, which equals 1.25 trillion with a T dollars.
It's the most popular bill for foreign countries. Many people keep their reserve in U.S. dollars because it's the most stable currency in the world. And it has been really the thing for the last 100 years, the reserve currency. And one thing, its estimated lifespan is 15 years.
Yeah, it's wild.
And that's why you get an old $100 bill. It looks weird now, but it's still legal tender. One thing most of us have used or seen used is a counterfeit banknote detection pin. It uses an iodine-based ink in an attempt to determine their authenticity. Typically, genuine banknotes are printed on paper based on cotton fibers and do not contain the starches that react with iodine. When the pen is used to mark genuine bills, the mark is yellowish or colorless. Such pens are most effective against counterfeit notes printed on the standard printer or copy paper. It's not completely reliable, but it's a good first line of defense for detecting a potentially unreliable bill. So I know the light also for the UV is a big help. And I know the question was, I don't want to get a counterfeit bill when I'm on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. And I know we're answering this at detail they probably didn't expect, but I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And outside of the U.S., the $100 bill is the most counterfeited. Inside the U.S., the $20 bill is the most counterfeited.
That's interesting.
And I've got a link provided to uscurrency.gov that explains all of this. I had a great quote that I found from a journalist for the Chicago Daily News and Chicago Sun-Times who said famously, "Men make counterfeit money. In many more cases, money makes counterfeit men."
Ooh.
Woo! I thought I would get serious for a minute.
That's good.
That was pretty good. Yeah. And so we hope this was fun. And no, this is not a counterfeit edition of the Money Tip.
This is not how
the genuine article right here. And we want to make sure you don't get stuck with counterfeit money. And so hopefully this was helpful to you.
Yep.
Tell everybody what we're going to talk about with our next episode.
Yes. Our next episode, we're going to talk about single parents and money. We know so many people who struggle to keep a household running while being the sole and primary income producer, rule enforcer, sports event coordinator, taxi driver, and parent. It presents substantial challenges for achieving financial independence and living a fully funded life. So we're going to walk through some of these challenges and provide some practical next steps that will be helpful to everyone, especially for those that are facing the financial future in a solo role.
Yes, and so we know that's one of the grave challenges for people, so we're going to take some time to spend on it. Even if you're not a single parent raising up a household, I'm confident you'll benefit from it as well. So make sure you're ready for that next Monday. If in the meantime, if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to other people who benefit. You can do it by quickly rating our podcast, leaving a review. Those ratings and reviews help us get our podcast better and allow others to discover it. If you're watching on YouTube, click the bell. You'll be reminded every time there's a new episode. Subscribe as well and share it with your friends on your favorite social media platform. As we go out, what would you share with everybody for this Monday?
I would share, it's an interesting one about counterfeit money. I think those pens are really going to be the key.
I'm going to get one.
If you're really worried about it, I would say go out and spend the $5 to
Let's
$6
go
to
get
$10.
a pen. Let's all go get a pen today. I'm not selling the pens. I wish I was.
But also don't let the fear of like counterfeit money hold you back from doing things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there you go.
Keep living.
Great tip. Hey, everybody, have a great Monday. Get fired up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.